You are listening to Fox Radio 910 and 104.3. I want to welcome you to Let's Talk About, our weekly radio program sponsored by Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia. My name is Linda Balentine, the president of Crowning Touch and your host for this series. I interview local characters, service providers, politicians, teachers, entrepreneurs, and business professionals, and each one is dedicated to improving life in our valley. Every person has an interesting perspective to share from all walks of life. So, let's begin today's interview. You're listening to Let's Talk About on Fox Radio Roanoke, and today we're diving into a topic that more and more families are embracing: homeschooling. Whether you're a parent considering it, already in the thick of it, or just curious about how it works, today's guest has a wealth of experience to share. Joining us is Jill Shelton of Blacksburg, Virginia. Jill holds a master's degree in education, homeschooled her own children, and now works as a homeschool evaluator, helping families meet state requirements and guiding students on their educational journey. We'll be talking about what homeschooling looks like behind the scenes, how evaluations work, and what Jill has learned as both a mom and an educational professional. So welcome, Jill. It is such a treat to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Linda. I'm glad to be here.
I am so thrilled because homeschooling, I've just got a heart for homeschooling. I'm homeschooling my grandson, and so I can really appreciate what you do. What first inspired you to homeschool your own children? Let's start at the grassroots of everything.
Sure. Well, to be perfectly honest, I came kicking and screaming, and I did not want to homeschool.
I bet.
We are a military family, now retired, but my oldest daughter, now 25, was being bullied by her teacher.
Wow.
And so we decided to pull her for the year and kind of just regroup and figure out what we needed to do. And then we just fell in love with it and said, we're going to go year by year. And then years turned into years and years. And
more
graduated
kids.
Her and more kids. And it just turned into something that we love.
So how many children do you have?
We have 5 children.
And did you homeschool all of them?
We homeschooled all of them.
Wow.
Including a nephew in his senior year.
Wow. That's amazing. So you've been really homeschooling. You still have one at home.
Yes.
One that you're homeschooling now.
Yes.
She's 11.
She's 11.
And so you have been doing this. You've earned your stripes, I would say.
Since the early 2000s.
Were there particular teaching methods or curricula that worked especially well for you and your family, or did you hop around? I know lots of homeschooling parents have to try one system and then that doesn't work and they go to another one. It's one of the benefits of homeschooling to really customize and cater to your child's unique abilities to learn.
Yes. In our family, we have gifted children, average children, and special needs children.
Wow.
So the freedom to jump around and individualize their education really did appeal to us for home education as well. And so, yes, we used different methods for each of the children that worked best for them.
So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a homeschooling mom? When you look back and reflect, I mean, you have one child who's 25.
I do.
And one 11.
Correct.
So there had to have been some real big challenges. What were some of the speed bumps for you?
The biggest speed bump, I think, was headbutting with my oldest son as a woman and him coming into puberty.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a struggle.
A teacher would have that same struggle in the classroom. 100%. Then she would have 20 of them.
Right, 100%. I think that it's natural. But I think that was more, life was more than education part of it.
Right.
Was more of the struggle.
I gotcha. What are some of your most cherished memories? The dearest things, the things that you look back and really remember? Because it all doesn't happen at a desk and a chair when you're homeschooling your child,
I think some of my most cherished memories were sitting around reading together, the Bible studies that we were able to do, relaxed in the mornings, going out and playing together after lunch, laughter at lunch, just the family bonds that we were able to create at home together and the sibling bonds that were created.
Because you got to spend more time together as a family than the traditional educational
Yes.
Yeah. Schedule. Of
Yes, indeed.
Most parents
We
bundle
had
their
more
kid
time
up,
together.
put them
Yes.
on the bus, and you don't see them for 8 or 9 hours.
Correct.
And then that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard. Somebody else is really seeing more of your child than you are.
Indeed.
It seems like it.
I didn't have to fight what some parents have to fight and deconstruct.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
How did your children transition from homeschooling into college or the workforce now that you've got some that are out there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you hear people badmouth the homeschooling experience sometimes.
Sure.
They aren't socialized enough. They aren't prepared enough.
Sure.
But that probably was not your experience.
No, it hasn't been my experience nor my friends' experiences.
Okay.
I do have 3 children out there and a 4th launching. So my experiences, my children's experiences have been great. They become independent learners quite early on, and they hold jobs. They are doing sports. They're out doing more things, I think, than government-led students. And so therefore, I think they are more socialized than. I think that's the biggest misconception, is that homeschool kids are not socialized, whereas I think they're actually more socialized than other children.
Because they also have the opportunity to deal with different age groups.
Correct.
If you're in, if you're siloed in the way they are in the school system, where you're just with kids of your own age group, you really you've lost your ability and your sense of respect.
And it really
for
didn't
kids.
start that way out in
That's
America.
right. It
did
didn't.
not.
It was all the one-room schoolhouse deal.
Correct. Yeah, it did not start that way. So, and as far as transitioning, colleges seek homeschoolers. They are actively searching out because our kids are performing better. The studies are showing that they are performing at the 80th and 85th percentile, where public school kids are at the 50th percentile. So we're actually doing better. And that's with parents who have no degrees. And so the degrees are a non-issue. So if you're a parent with a high school degree, it just doesn't matter. Or if a doctorate, that does not matter.
In the state of Virginia, there's a wonderful group called the Home Educators Association of Virginia.
Yes.
They just had a convention a couple of weeks ago in Richmond.
Yes.
I know you were a speaker there.
Yes.
I was in attendance. I didn't get to go to your session.
Yeah.
But it was marvelous because you could just feel the level of commitment of the families that came there, spent their money to come and go to that event, hauling their babies around in strollers.
Yes.
To participate and because they're on the front lines, and in the trenches, they wanted to sort of arm themselves with as much as they could.
Right.
So it was a 3-day conference.
Correct.
And one day was even for special needs. I just thought it was fantastic.
I love it.
It's the second year I've gone. I understand that there are 5 million families in the United States now.
Yeah. Home
Educating. I don't know how many are in Virginia, but there were, several thousand at that event.
Yes. Yes. I think there might have been 15 to 20,000 at our convention.
Wow.
I work for HEAV, and it's a great organization. All of the money, when you become a member and from convention, goes back into our state, and we fight the legal battles.
Right.
And so it's really important to become a member. And then our convention, of course, we bring in the big speakers. We had Bethany Hamilton as a keynote speaker. We had Matt Hammett. I mean, we just had some great people. I don't want to leave anybody out, so I'll stop name dropping right there. I spoke on transcript services and how to build a transcript. And we do have a special needs conference on Thursday, which is fantastic.
That is fantastic. I've gone to that. And
we have a children's program.
Yes, you do, to help parents with children who are over 5 years old.
Yes.
To, so they don't have to lug the whole family around in and out of these sessions.
We have a used book curriculum fair.
Yes, you do, and a general resource area in general for everything else.
We do a vendor sale. The vendors come, and then we have a ton of speakers all day long. We have speakers, and then we have a I can't even think of the word right now. We have a Hispanic Black outreach.
Right.
It's outreach.
Right.
We have a Hispanic outreach, a Black outreach, and a pastor outreach.
Right. Gotcha.
And then we have a military outreach. And so we have special things going on for each of those outreaches.
So if any of those apply, then you've got special sessions for them.
Yes, we do have
which is
special
just,
sessions.
it's just fantastic. Talking about that as a support system, and they're accessible. You can contact them
Yes.
about anything.
Yes.
Which is really wonderful throughout the year. What support systems or communities did you rely on during your homeschooling journey? You're not just locked in your house with your children.
No.
So what are some of your suggestions based on your own experience about how to reach out to other
Sure.
parents and other events in the community?
Sure. Well, we moved around a lot. 16 times in 26 years.
Wow.
And so we relied on co-ops, local co-ops. We relied on each state that we were in, their organization, just like HEAV, and our church. We tried to find a church that had homeschool families in it that aligned with us. And so I always had a mentor, and then we had friends that we reached out to.
Well, it's interesting, too, because now the homeschooling movement has evolved enough that you have the type of situation where kids could even be a part of sports teams
Yes.
with homeschoolers and even join up with other high schools. For instance,
Yes.
Tim Tebow was a homeschooled
Yes.
kid,
Yes.
and he got to play
Yes.
on, which is how he got to,
Yes.
experience the success that he did in football. So these are opening up now, and they weren't there before.
Yes. So Tim Tebow got a law in place, and there's a lot of states that have the Tim Tebow law, and that kids can play sports with the public schools. And my son participated in several states playing sports.
Wow.
And then as far as Virginia goes, we cannot play sports with the public schools. However, different areas have amazing sport teams. Roanoke, for one, Northern Virginia, the Richmond area, the Hampton Roads area. My kids have played in Hampton Roads. My one son was part of a chess team. My other daughter was part of a debate team. And then my son was part of a basketball team in Virginia. And so Roanoke has an amazing sports program.
Which is really great. It's fantastic. Let's talk about your life as a homeschool evaluator. All right.
Okay.
So you've got all of this experience that you've built on.
Okay.
And now it's part of your career path to go and assess and help parents determine the progress that their children are making so that they can go ahead and be either at the appropriate grade level or know what they have to do to get to that grade level. So why don't you explain what you do and then what the typical requirements are for Virginia?
Sure.
How does this work? If you're homeschooling now and you want to, call you and get an evaluation.
Sure. I love mentoring. I always have. I've had some great mentors in my life, and I thought, what better way? I used to hold a certificate in teaching. I let it lapse because we moved so much, but I do hold 2 master's degrees. And if you hold a master's degree, you can also be an evaluator. And so I thought, okay, let's do this.
Right.
I can help some friends out. I can help some people out in our co-ops. And so I basically, as an evaluator, I hold an unbiased, non-judgmental opinion and write a letter to their superintendent saying that their child, this person's child, has adequately progressed in their school year and met the requirements to go to the next grade.
Correct.
And so what I do is I look at what their child has done for the year, and I ask questions. Are there activities that they've been doing? What does their school day look like? What can I see some work? Can I see some samples from the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year, that sort of thing.
Okay, and then how does that satisfy the state of Virginia? The state of Virginia has a pretty relaxed approach, don't they? They allow,
We do have freedom. Yes.
and that's a big deal.
That is a very big deal. That is a very big deal. Another reason why we should belong to HEAV, because they keep our freedoms free. Yes. So we are relaxed. We have to file a notice of intent with the superintendent by August 15th, and we have to show proof of progress by August 1st. Proof of progress can be an evaluation,
Right.
or it can be test scores.
Okay.
And so, if you're not under religious exemption, of course. And so, if you have, let's say, a special needs child, or maybe a child that has test anxiety, then you would maybe want to go an evaluator.
Yeah,
And so that's where I come in.
I was going to ask you how you adapt your evaluations for children with special needs or learning
Sure.
differences. It's
Sure.
one of the main reasons why so many parents with children that fall into that category do decide to teach at home, because
Right.
the truth is you can experience greater progress with that type of individualized attention. It's what they aren't getting
Yes.
in a room of 30 kids.
Yes.
It just can't be helped.
100%.
So, but you're able to, stretch the evaluation, accommodate that child, make the considerations that have to be made, and also, and help the parent plan
Right.
the next year's program, correct?
Correct. It's the same as a child having an IEP.
What is an IEP?
So it's an individualized education plan
Okay.
if they were at a public school.
Oh, okay.
And so if they're at home and you have a plan laid out for them for their schoolwork, and they are doing this plan, and they have progressed through their plan, and they have progressed, let's say you have daily skills laid out, and you're going to teach them how to make a sandwich.
Okay, I got you.
And they are learning how to make that sandwich. They've progressed.
Right.
They have passed.
Gotcha.
And therefore, they're doing well. So they're good.
Right.
They're evaluated. They're adequately passing. The same as somebody who just scored 100 on every single thing they've done.
Right.
There's no difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do parents ever feel nervous about being evaluated? And how do you help them feel more at ease?
Sure. I have parents. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. And I have parents that I'm an evaluator for that are atheists,
Right.
that are Latter-day Saints, that are Catholic, that are Christian, and I treat them all the same. I treat them with love and respect, and they are people, and they are all made in the image of Christ.
Sure.
And so I am unbiased, and I make sure that they feel loved and that they feel valued and that they are great parents doing the best that they can with what they have, and that I set them at ease and that I just show them respect.
So I would think that would make them feel very relaxed, but I'm wondering
hope
if
so.
the ideological differences are what they're most afraid of. Would they be also afraid that they just hadn't done the job right? I mean, they aren't checking in with you during the year. Some of them maybe.
Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them maybe. But the ones that haven't been,
Sure.
you're going to come through the door.
Yeah.
And, and I guess they're just hoping that their
Sure.
child makes the grade.
Yeah.
But if not, they can catch up.
Yes.
You can certainly do that.
Yes. And so part of the experience with the evaluator is, and part of what they're paying for is for some suggestions and for some resources and for my experience, and that I can give to them. Hey, if your kid is having some trouble in this area, or you don't feel equipped in this area, let's try this, or let me give you some of this, or let me direct you this way. And if they are not feeling confident, I feel like my purpose of mentoring for me personally is to help them feel confident. I want to walk alongside of them. I want to make them feel confident and let them know that they can, in fact, do this. And that even with me being an experienced home educator,
Right.
I feel that way too.
Have you ever had to recommend that a child not go on to the next grade, and how do you handle that?
Once.
Okay.
Once I have. And it was really hard. And I basically said, I do not feel like this child is ready to go to the next grade. However, if you were to do ABC, then I do feel like this child could get caught up enough.
You give them a course correction plan.
A course correction plan, that this child could get caught up enough that they would be ready.
The truth is, teachers in the public school system ought to be doing that more, because they just
pass them through.
They're just passing through. Now we've got kids that are seniors in high school that can't write, can't speak, can't do math.
And you can ask any college professor that they come in. My husband's a college professor, and he says they come in and they can't even write a paragraph.
I know, isn't that something? How have you seen homeschooling evolve in Virginia over the last decade? I mean, you've been in the game a long time. How long have you been an evaluator?
I've been an evaluator for 4 years.
Okay. But you've been in the homeschooling all this time.
Since early 2000.
Are we going in the right direction?
I do believe we are going in the right direction.
And are we saying that homeschooling is becoming a more welcome alternative, more accepted? That parents aren't getting dirty looks when they walk in with their child to some commercial environment in the middle of the day and people wondering, well, why aren't your kids in school?
I think we'll always get that. I think we'll always get that. I think we'll always, have the naysayers. And that's okay. I think the statistics, and I think the colleges and the workforces, the military and everybody, I think they speak for themselves. Our students are well-spoken. Our students graduate top of their class. Our students in the colleges, our students are excellent employees.
They also have a great level of self-confidence.
They have good self-confidence.
I mean, the kids that are self-harming and are not really the homeschool kids in the same proportion that they are. The kids suffering depression.
I was going to say mental health.
Are not as much the homeschool kids as it is the kids that are trapped in these classrooms where their needs are not being met and they are not being treated individually because it can't happen. It is a production environment.
I think even as society, we have a stronger presence in our civil ethics, and the statistics are showing that our homeschool kids are voting, and doing community service and those sorts of things.
Well, they aren't even teaching civics in. I mean, you can get a history degree. I went to Duke. You can get a history degree from Duke and never take American history.
That's crazy.
I mean,
that's crazy.
You don't even have an idea. So do you think homeschooling then, based on everything we've been talking about, is a good fit for every child? Or do you think there are some kids that wouldn't benefit from homeschooling because if their family's at home trying to decide whether their child or grandchild is a candidate? Is it a one size fits all? Is it something that we're saying is foundationally better for almost every child?
No.
Okay. So how does that work?
Yeah, I don't think it's a one size fits all. I don't think every student would do well in homeschool. I think it's an excellent for most kids, but I do feel like it is, the parent or the grandparent or the tutor, whomever is at home investing in the schooling of that child needs to be invested. They need to put forth the effort for it to work. And usually the first year is the hardest year because it's an adjustment.
Right.
And
you dedicate your time. It is a time.
It is time
dedication.
Consuming. Mom's not going to go out for coffee every morning. There's a lot of things you're going to have to give up. Or dad, if dad's homeschooling and mom's working. There's some sacrifices that you have to make.
There are sacrifices. But it's something that you look back 250 years into the history of our country. The women educated those colonial children.
Yep.
Thomas Jefferson's kids were educated by women till they were about 11 years old.
Yes.
Then the men took them.
Correct.
And but it was still very much a homeschool thing until they got past the age.
Right.
When so then there was Harvard.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so but the foundation was laid by women without college degrees.
Correct. And probably not even 8th grade degrees.
Right. But don't you think the love and the degree of caring and the warmth fueled that child
Yes.
with what they needed,
Yes. 100%.
which is what they aren't getting from a government
No.
school
Well, and there's
system.
so much discipline that has to go on and classroom, chaos.
That's right. It doesn't even have anything to do with your particular child.
No.
They just have to sit through it.
No. And for instance, for my 11-year-old, we're done with school by lunch, and she has the afternoon for her passions, which is building. And so she is building something all the time in her afternoons. If she was in school, she would be bored because she's well above beyond grade level. And she'd probably be a troublemaker, and she would be labeled a troublemaker because she is brilliant. Whereas my other child, who is autistic, would be quite the opposite, right? And so I would be dealing with all kinds of things. And so homeschool for us worked brilliantly and worked really well for our family.
If someone's thinking about homeschooling, what is some, we only have a minute left.
Oh, okay.
So I just, is there anything that you would want to say to any parent right now who is thinking about taking that on and is suffering a little trepidation about doing that?
Yeah, just reach out to heav.org. You can reach out to me. Just reach out to them, give them a call. There's all the information on there. And, we can walk you through it. We have tons of homeschool moms on there, experienced homeschool dads, and we will walk you through and help you get started. We have tons of videos, workshops, and how to begin, and anything you need, we have it for you.
I know. That's a fantastic thing. And I might say that I'm a grandma homeschooling my own grandson, and HEAV was instrumental in helping me launch and gain the confidence that I needed.
I love it.
Well, this has been a very insightful conversation, Jill. I want to thank you. If you want information from Jill, and she's ready to help and point you in the right direction, you can contact her at jshelton@heav.org. Remember, she's a homeschool mom, an educator, and an advocate for flexible, personalized learning. So from her own experiences teaching her children, she's ready to help other families meet their academic milestones. Thank you, Jill. You've given us a much deeper understanding about the heart and the structure behind homeschooling.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's been fantastic. God bless you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Let's Talk About, courtesy of Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia, the only moving company with a consignment shop, auction house, and real estate division. We are a one-stop shop for any senior making a move. Check out our website at crowningtouchusa.com. Or if you are planning a move, call Anna at 540-982-5800 to arrange a free estimate. And don't forget to check out our monthly browse and bid auctions at 6712 Williamson Road in Roanoke, where you can bid online on over 1,800 items each month. Meanwhile, let's get back together next Friday at noon for more of Let's Talk About on Fox 910 and 104.3.